All right, everybody, Arch Nation. This is Arch from the Arch Assessment. Along with me, I got C-Jack of C-Jack Productions, and I have another special guest, Mr. Venom. We're here to talk about, I believe it's the 35th entry into the MCU, which is Captain America: Brave New World. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing great. I'm having a beautiful day. I'm breathing. I'm on this side of the dirt.
Ain't that
I'm
the
doing well.
truth?
Yeah, it's I can't. It's tax season, so I can't wait to get mine. But I'm very pleased. I can't complain either.
Yeah, I got mine too, man. I'm good right now. I'm saving everything.
Y'all still get
But
taxes back? What is going on? What is happening?
I love this dude.
yeah, so we're here to talk about Brave New World. So do you guys just want to start from the beginning of the movie, how it started off, like initial first impressions, like as go in? Let me just start by saying this. This is something, this might be a minor gripe, but this has been bugging me. Why is this the only movie that didn't have the classic Marvel Studios intro? Can someone
And
explain that to me, please?
with the letters, he's talking about Mr. Venom, and I don't recall that either. Only theory is that Mackie, much like ScarJo when she Scarlett Johansson, yeah, when she did her Black Widow movie, I believe it did not have one. Correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong,
it did.
audience. It
Wait a
did?
minute, wait a
Okay,
minute.
then
Let me
that's
double
different
check.
because she invested. Where I was going with this was she invested movie in that invested movie. She invested money in that movie, and I thought might have been a connection there, but I did do some research this last night. But no, to no avail. Thanks for correcting me, Arch. That wasn't a theory because I thought because if each individual actor invested money into it, that's why. But that's not the case here. Then, but that is a very good question, Mr. Venom.
I got nothing for this topic because I didn't even notice that. And
I
normally
did
I was
right
such
away.
a I think I sat down and I was so locked in to be ready to hate or love this movie that the opening Marvel scene, I didn't even notice that it didn't happen. Now I have to go back and see it again just so I can say, oh, that didn't happen. Why did they do that? Wow. That just made
It
me
stuck out. We got that back in the this past summer. We kind of got an indication of that when they dropped the first teaser. Because even with
Mhm.
the teasers and the trailers from Marvel Studios, they always show the Marvel Studios logo. We never got that from this movie, and I just thought that was a little peculiar. And I just can't help but think this is like a subtle diss that Marvel Studios didn't really care about this project, or they didn't really believe in that much to begin with. Maybe I'm reaching. People in the comments, let me know what y'all think about that. But I found that strangely peculiar that they don't have the classic Marvel Studios intro in this movie. I didn't like that. Just didn't sit right with me.
I I will say this, and this is on me. This does not reflect the Arch assessment. I will take the heat on my channel, my network. I dare say it has something to do with a certain orange idiot that actually wanted to abolish a certain month or time of year. But that's just me, though. I might be petty, but this is
I
really
don't.
I have no
I
true.
hear you. I hear you. But this was going on before he took office.
This is true because you know why? To be honest, playing devil's advocate, then look at Mr. Venom. Yeah. If like Echo did not have it that for sure because I love that series. They got a lot of slack from it, and I think it might be its own entity. Marvel Studios, like what's it called? Signature assignments, something. But I don't know if it's under the same umbrella. But that's a good question,
No.
though.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
That just.
Echo, so you said Echo didn't have it either? Because
Echo did not have it for sure. For
Echo
sure.
was the only story in the entire MCU everything that I haven't watched. I had no interest in seeing it, and so now you tell me now I have to go see it. God, because you told me you liked
Not,
it. All right,
yeah, it was good. Don't let me
yeah,
sidetrack you. Go ahead,
all
Arch.
right.
I'm sorry.
Oh wait a minute. I think I know what you're talking about, CJ. It's been a while since I've seen Echo, so I gotta look again. But anyway, with that being said, the movie starts off with Harrison Ford taking over the role of Thunderbolt Ross from the now deceased William Hurt. He is just taking office. Why is everybody? I mean,
No,
you
no,
know.
that's
No,
the
just happy that they found the right person to take over their role.
Oh, okay.
If
plus he
you know,
did like this. It's called a political clap.
yeah, that was a. I didn't want to. You were talking, so I didn't want to make the noise, so I just did a
Oh, okay, okay.
nice.
You good,
You know,
Arch.
they picked the right man to take over that position.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Harrison Ford, I got to say, was one of the standouts of the movie. He brought a certain gravitas to this role. I don't know if William Hurt could have did had he still been alive. And that's no shade at William Hurt. who is a renowned actor in his own right. I just can't, from the little we have seen him as Thunderbolt Ross, it's kind of hard to imagine him doing what he did with this role. I don't know. Who's to say?
I think it would have been hard to imagine that level of, I don't know if I want to say deception or the rage just showed a lot more on Harrison Ford. He just played that out a lot better. And I would hate to blame him, but I can't see, Mr. Hurt doing it with the mustache. I think the mustache fixes it,
I concur. It's for you guys, first of all, the audience who is under the 80s years old, I like to say, or above the 80s years old. Yes, above the 80s year old. You got to remember films he did, like The Fugitive, Give Me Back My Son, and to even down to his last performance in the Star Wars universe, playing the anti-hero. Because remember, Han Solo, he was an anti-hero. He was a rebel. A rebel's rebel. You know what I'm saying? That takes, like, I'm doing it for the money. I don't care about you. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that personality. So Arch is absolutely correct. He's a good actor. The first guy you mentioned, I can't get the name. I heard you say, yeah, but this is Harrison Ford, though. I mean, for a guy who
I'm glad to see him in the MCU. Much less playing the Red Hulk. So that's pretty dope. But anyway, so I'm glad they finally addressed the adamantium, the celestial issue, because we haven't heard about that in a little over 3 years now since the Eternals movie. I was wondering when they were going to address that again. So this is a major plot point of the movie, is the proper ownership, the mining, the distribution rights of what is we now know as adamantium. That's being introduced, and it's the Celestial is the source of adamantium in the MCU now. Imagine that. So I thought that was a pretty interesting take. So Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross is trying to orchestrate some sort of treaty amongst Japan and some other countries to make sure there's a certain amount of proper ownership and distribution, so there ain't no global conflict over this. So that's what he's proposing. And then we cut over to the fight scene with Captain America, his new sidekick, Joaquin Torres, played by Danny Martinez. They're headed to Mexico because this is where we see the legendary Giancarlo Esposito, a.k.a. Gus, doing the damn thing. He is Sidewinder, part of the Serpent Society, and they are trying to steal a case of what we now know is a stolen case of adamantium. And Captain America and his crew, Sam, they intervene, and this is where we get to see Sam Wilson put in work, minus the serum, super soldier serum. Without it, be damned, he's still kicking butt. He's in top physical shape. He's getting it in. He busts in, and then he gets into a little scuffle with one of the main guys, not Giancarlo, but another guy. And this kind of took me a little back to the beginning of Winter Soldier when Steve Rogers hit up that boat, him and Black Widow. This kind of took me back to a little bit to that, and Sam, he has his hands full. He gets slammed, and the guy's like, "Hey, give up," and he's like, "No, I got. Let's get it." Ooh, look at me! I could.
Put $1 in the jar. Put $1.
Yeah. But
let's go with that. $1 in the jar. $1 in the jar. I like that. Let's start that, Arch.
Sorry. Yeah, but eventually Sam finally gets the best of him. He wins. He saves the lives of those people they held hostage. But unfortunately, Gus gets away. Which sucks. But they did recover the adamantium, so I guess job well done. Nonetheless. Any takes on this, guys?
You did it very good. Like I told you before, you're excellent at outlining. Mr. Venom, you go first.
All right. So I think the best thing to me is we all seen the beginning of that fight in the trailers and everything that were released all over the world and everything. And a lot of people hated on it because it's like, oh, the original Captain America would never. And I'm like, are you high? When they assaulted that ship, he started getting, the original Cap, Steve Rogers, started getting folded by a regular dude. And he's a super soldier, mind you. It was a whole fight. The dude had to have him put the shield away, don't get me wrong, but it was an even fight. It wasn't like he just one shot at the guy. And now we have Falcon, who's just a regular dude who works out a lot, who's taking the mantle. And he starts fighting the guy, and he starts losing initially, you know. But in the spirit of what Steve Rogers set in the beginning, in the very first movie, you know, I can do this all day, you know, he bring what just happened? He brings that in, and he brings that mindset and that willpower in that, hey, even though you just put it on me a little bit, I'm not done yet. I have more, and I'm gonna keep going. You know, I think that was a beautiful callback to what it meant to be Captain America that a lot of people are probably gonna overlook, you know.
Yeah.
I concur. I concur with Mr. Venom because he's the dude that was working him, as Arch said. I'll make this brief. He's like, "You all right, man? You need a minute?" I felt like I heard a rib move. He was like, "Nah, I got this. I got stuff to do." You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "You guys seen the scene?" And to me, Sam, compare and contrast. Original Cap, Bruce Wayne, Batman. Sam, Terry McGinnis. If you guys watch the series, Terry fights with speed and agility. He knows he doesn't have that much brute strength, even with the suit. Keep that in mind. So if you've seen him, and I don't want to get ahead because I know Arch is going to the next scene, but if you've witnessed the fighting style, he uses speed and agility. You have to admit, Steve does, but Steve, you've never seen Steve do remotely half those agility shield flips. Now, the shield flipping, that's what Steve does. He wrote the book. In fact, that's what Sam incorporated. But all that, you know, hidden tiger, hidden dragon technique, that's all Sam. That's all I got.
Okay. And then we fast forward over to at the end of the mission, they catch up with Isaiah Bradley, the former first black Captain America, technically speaking. We found out in Falcon and Winter Soldier was wrongly imprisoned for 30 plus years. And he is now running the gym over in Baltimore. And him and Torres are doing some training over there. And then that's Sam gets the call that they are invited over to the summit over at the White House, where President Ross is proposing this new treaty with the adamantium. And of course, Isaiah Bradley has his reservations about all this because he don't like Ross. He don't like what he stands for. And plus, Sam himself even has some bad history with him from the events of Civil War, being imprisoned in the raft and whatnot. Because he was trying to launch the Soviet, he was spearheading the Sokovia Accords, and of course Sam was on Team Cap, obviously. So I like that whole discussion. It's always good to see Carl Lumbly back again in his role. So I was happy to see him again. Can we do something about that man's flat top, man? What was that? Did he really have to have that?
Yeah, you're right. First of all, you're right. I get that he's OG, but dude, my uncle had this expression: just because you're broke, I mean you got to look like it. Take care of it. You know, hit some clippers. That's what he used to say. Briefly, piggybacking what Mr. Venom said and what I was saying earlier, this is where he got his agility skill from. If you can work up, because Sam Bradley hit the punching bag like Captain America 1, same intensity in my opinion.
Isaiah Bradley?
Isaiah Bradley. Yeah. Same intensity in my opinion. Because Cap 1, he punched the punching bag off the chain harness just like he did. Yeah. And I think, what could Sam do? And I keep forgetting that's the principle of this. I'll make this quick, Arch. If you're gonna escape me swinging, trying to hit you flag football style, you're doing your job. That's contact. That's it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that illustrated that. It just goes to show that how Sam, as a normal human, has got to stay up to snuff. If he's knowingly, voluntarily not going to take the super soldier serum, then he's got to be on point the best he can. So we fast forward over to them heading over to the White House, and everything's going cool. And this is where Sam runs in, speaks to President Ross, and this is where President Ross proposes that he wants Sam to spearhead the Avengers. He wants to relaunch the Avengers, which I get. You know, it's kind of ironic coming from him, considering he started the Sokovia Accords, and they were on both sides of the opposite sides of the argument. But as we all know, we do need the new Avengers now because of we know Doomsday and Secret Wars are coming up in the next couple of years. So we got to get that lined up, but I'll table that for another later down the road. And then this is when President Ross is going over his presentation in regards to Celestial Island. How do they know to call it Celestial, by the way? I mean, I know I'm nitpicking in here, but how would they know to call those things Celestial? I mean, we as the audience know, but how did the rest of the world know they're called Celestials?
What if Well, no, that's a different Earth. Shoot. I don't know.
So I read an article to eliminate confusion. The audience, see, and that was the wrong thing with the internals. Briefly, we know third party, they were called celestial, but the problem is it was not mentioned once in the film. Again, another loophole of that film being terrible. Got this guy's opinion. But to eliminate confusion, they did say, and I saw this in Comic-Con, Kevin himself said, you know what? To eliminate dropping the ball, we'll just call it Celestial Island. If anybody asks questions about it, we'll make up for the reason why later down the road. So he said there's a future answer coming where the name came from. Part 2 of this. I'm glad, like Arch said, if there's a new happening, and this is why the movie is good, I don't know why people don't like this. Let's say a brand new island with new resources popped up out of nowhere. Literally, it did. And depending where the ocean is divided, the Asian, Mr. Venom, you're more military, more Asian territory, more American territory, they split it evenly. Is that not what the UN would do? I love this so far.
I mean, we live in America, so no, that's not what we would do. We would agree with it as long as we get our portion and a majority share of it. That was in the Indian Ocean. So it being in the Indian Ocean, I don't even understand why America was frontlining the treaty.
Well, you know how we are.
I understand why, because we didn't want to have to blow up the rest of the world for it. That's what that was about.
Well, you know how we are.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was about. It was
okay.
Why is this even if we're gonna count the lines drawn for which country gets claim to which, America's nowhere near there. We still gonna get our share.
I thought that.
You know, that's what the movie was about. Like,
so that was supporting my back thought. Okay, we like before it said, I'm sorry, Arch, we're gonna get it first. But yeah.
Oh no. Like that was taken out. He said that, yes, but that was a little taken out of context. Because as we found out, it came down to a race between US Japan, where Japan was going to shut us out. And then that's when he said what he said. That's when he said that. You know what I'm saying? So the other thing was this is where we find out, like, along with Isaiah Bradley and some other guys, a certain song plays and they get triggered and Isaiah Bradley tries to assassinate Ross right there on the spot. So that was a whole big thing. They're losing their mind. And then we find out his head security advisor is a former Black Widow herself. And she apprehended the other guys, and Isaiah Bradley was trying to make a run for it. Sam's chasing after him. And Isaiah Bradley eventually comes to his senses. He doesn't know what's going on. And he's like, it was just heartbreaking to see him like, I can't go back, Sam. I can't go back. And it's like, hey, if you run, it's only going to get worse. And so Sam's like trying to uncover some conspiracy, trying to figure out what's going on, because Isaiah Bradley just wouldn't do this like that unless there was some nefarious going on behind the scenes. Go on.
Let's talk about the passion of that. I love how, again, it's like Falcon Winter Soldier. Again, check out the review. I did review. Seriously, it's interesting how the Falcon and Winter Soldier, they brought a little bit of that spice there, because Isaiah had that passion, like, dude, you don't know what it's like, what they did to me. I ain't going back. And he had all the power in the physical means. Sam was like talking down. That's his gift. He can talk practically anybody down. Like, dude, let me do my job. Let me see what I can do. That's all. I'm going to leave it there.
You going to say something, Mr. Vim?
Yeah, no, so 100% agree with that. It's just to see the emotion on his face. He really played that role like he had been wrongfully accused of something and caught 30 years for it and got out, and now he's doing good, and something strange happened, and now he's back under the limelight. And just hearing him say, I can't go back, I can't do it again. That, I think, to me, I think that may have been the most emotional part of the entire movie for me. To see this man growing up in that time in America, surviving it, doing everything right for America, and still getting locked up by America. And then now he's been pulled into celebrating the progress, I guess you could say, just to get snatched back. For him, that roller coaster it had to have been up and down for him.
And Sam's recommendation. Yeah, but on Sam's recommendation, he didn't even want to go.
Exactly. He argued it down, and it wasn't even, first off, he didn't like Ross, but it wasn't even just Ross. It was how America has treated him through
You said
all
it
of the
right.
presidents before, you know. So it was just his whole circumstance was against, and he still went there. And when he went, it messed him over, you know.
Ross was the tip of the iceberg. But, both of you are right. But continue.
Yeah, so I like the scene when after Bradley's apprehended, Sam's going back and talking to Ross and his security advisor. And I like that whole scene when Sam trying to tell Ross, like, yo, I know what this looks like, but Bradley, something else is going on behind the scenes. Bradley wouldn't just do this. And of course, Ross is dismissive. He's a little skeptical. I mean, well, I think we find out later, deep down, he knows what's going on. He just has a lot of hidden cards he's not sharing with anybody that we later find out. But I like that whole scene where he says, watch it, you're not Steve Rogers.
And he called him boy.
Did he call him boy?
Yeah.
So remember when he leaves out and Sam is pissed? Pissed doesn't count as a curse word. And
Yeah.
He said, "Can you believe him calling me boy?" Yeah,
Somewhere down the road, he called him that. I missed it.
I'm gonna see it again. I'm gonna see it again. I totally forgot about that. I got
no. In Arch's defense, I missed it too. I did, but he said I heard him like he called me boy.
Yeah.
Like okay, I got that was a trigger. Even
the moment he left the office, when he was in the hallway leaving with
talking to that one agent.
Yeah, I can't remember the lady's name.
Taylor.
He was leaving with her.
I want to say Taylor or something like that.
Yeah. The first thing out of his mouth was, I can't believe you called me boy. Like, it's all a callback to all of the triggers of us in America for the last hundreds of years. You know, I love that scene in particular. That was probably my favorite part of the entire movie. You know, him calling Sam out, "You're not Steve Rogers." I'm Captain America, though. Would have been a great comeback. But you had to build into that. He had to obviously earn his weight in gold, I guess they'll say. But to just show how America will turn on you, and not to say America, but how things can turn on you in the worst inconveniences, even though you've done nothing wrong. Sam did nothing wrong. And they turned on him immediately. Oh, I don't want you to run the Avengers anymore. Oh, I don't want you on this case.
Oh,
anymore.
yeah, that's right. He took it off the table.
I don't want to work with you anymore. Pretty much, get out of my office, boy. Like, it immediately went left. And and this is the top guy. This is the guy who's carrying the shield. This guy's got the vibranium wings. Like, he just got us adamantium. In the moment someone else who knows him messed up, you turned your back on him quickly. You know.
No, check this out. Briefly add on to that. You come in here, we're having a banquet, guest of honor, limo. Okay, you're feeling good. It could be all three of us in that car. We've been in the same attitude, right? He's like, "Hey, so come in my office real quick." And Ross was like, "Hey, listen, I want you to lead the Avengers." And even Sam was like, "You think we need the Avengers?" Sorry, with all respect, you practically dismantled it. Now you want it again? I'm trying to change.
What happens when we disagree?
Yeah, dude, you beat me to it. He's like, well, what if we disagree on policies? We'll cross that bridge when we get there, Sam. So he talked to the prime minister in Japan. But fast forward to what Arch is talking about, he's like, "Hey, everybody leave out of here but him." And I was like, okay, he's willing to hear him out. He's like, "Okay, sir, who is this?" He's my head of security. Okay, whatever, she could stay. Look, the point is this and this and this. I don't think he did it. And then as soon as the pressure got put on, look, it's about optics. It's about optics, Sam. And he was like, "Well, I was about to be in bed with metaphorical political talk. I was about to be in bed with you. And now you're dismantling what Mr. Venom said. Like, are you serious right now?" Okay. Yes, sir. I got you.
I was thinking I want to piggyback on something else too. This kind of goes back to what Anthony Mackie was saying a couple of weeks ago about Captain America shouldn't just represent America. And all the nerds got bent out of shape over that. Remember that?
Yep. Remember, he co-produced this. He answered that. Yeah.
Go ahead, because I have something for that. Go ahead.
No. Talk your talk.
Oh, so America in the comic books and everything, it started with America because we were leading the charge in World War II and such.
Right.
Even in the comics, once times advance and once moments advance, Steve Rogers has obviously in Civil War has gone against the American government, gone against what we said, and he's always been. Don't let the America part fool you. America isn't the country in this government. America is the people. It's the dream, you know. And that's what it was. So when Anthony Mackie said that, and people hated it, and it was like, "Yo, he's against America." No, he's actually pretty comic book accurate right now.
Ooh.
You know,
Listen,
and
yeah.
I got so pissy about that with people because I'm like, he didn't disrespect America. He talked about what America was supposed to represent, what it's supposed to be, the dream of what America is to us and to the rest of the world. And that's what Captain America it was supposed to represent. So for people to go out and say he hates America and blah, people just need a reason to be mad. And you want to be need a reason to be mad, go get mad at your taxes. All right, go get mad at that.
I
Don't
would
be mad at the money they're taking out your check. Don't be mad at Anthony Mackie playing a role and in real life being comic book accurate when he speaks on the dream of what America is supposed to be. You know. Sorry.
Speaking of comic book accurate, I'm gonna sip my tea on this. I looked this up. There is actual articles to support Mr. Venom. Steve said in comic book before the MCU was even established, and I quote, "If I can't represent the good people in America," and I was ready for this, represent the good people in America, then America sucks. He said it somewhere. There's a clip out there. Just look for yourself.
I have a few. I knew this was coming up. I have a few snippets just in case people want to question it that you can add in, like in the middle of this. You drop them in, and it'd be like, "This is straight from the comic book." Boom, Captain America. Steve Rogers said this. He was against the BS with America. He's representing the greater good, the dream. You know, that's what.
But when Sam says something,
if Chris Evans would have said this, would he would have got the same backlash Anthony Mackie got? Can we be honest about that?
No.
No.
All right, we know why.
We know why.
We know why.
Obviously,
but
I did too. I never would have posed the question if I didn't know either. I'm just putting it out there. Yeah, but the other thing is, so they're investigating. So Sam and Torres, they're doing their investigation. They're trying to look in to see what's going on. And in the meantime, those other men that were in cahoots that try to assassinate Ross too, they get killed. And this is where Sam runs in the Sidewinder. Gus. This was a dope scene. I thought this was a dope scene.
He said Gus. Go ahead.
He's Gus. He's Gus. He's Gus.
Gus. He's Gus.
Always.
Sidewinder who? But he's Gus to me. He's always going to be Gus. Anyway, so I thought that was a pretty dope action sequence. I like to see Giancarlo Esposito not only talking that talk, but this is like the most physical he's gotten. I've seen him
in any role. Yeah, I want to say just to see
he's usually the dude. He's usually the snide, sinister villain in the background talking to smack while everybody else does the work. Like he's that guy who's talking to smack while the hero's down bad, talking smack when he lets his muscle do the work, and he just walks up and flies off in his helicopter. Only difference is this time he was willing to put in some physical work. I like when Sam thought he had him and he was shooting him like through his jacket in the behind. I thought that was dope. I was like, okay, let's go, Gus.
And he wasn't for any of the play. Everything he wasn't for play. He wasn't for talking trash. Every shot that he took at Sam was a kill shot. He was trying to end that man's life from the start to the end of that fight. It was no trash talking. It was no. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Sam disappeared,
no, he was still talking a little bit, but he was
talking, but he was.
No, but he was delivering
his own jacket. He was trying to put a hole through that man's chest. You know, that wasn't. I wasn't trying to wing you. I didn't crack your rib while you were. I didn't crack your rib while you were down and let you recover. Like no, I monologued you so you lowered your guard so I could try and blow your chest out of your dang.
Okay. This ain't wait. What you're both saying is this ain't the Incredibles. There's no monologuing here.
No, the monologue.
There's no train on no tracks. I'm just going to straight up kill you.
It was amazing. That was probably outside of the Winter Soldier, the original when the Winter Soldier first presented himself to us in Captain America: Winter Soldier. There has been no one in the entire MCU that has been just cold-blooded. I don't care what we're doing. I'm going to kill you. Outside of this scene right here.
But staying on task, I want to point out that I'm glad they didn't go to direction. Mr. Venom knows I'm talking about from the research we just did last night. I'm glad they didn't do the superpowered version of the Serpent Society.
I thought they were. I thought it was going there.
They were too. Yeah.
So when he started Serpent Society, supposed to be these snake hybrids and everything. So when he actually baited into the junkyard and he started slicing open those batteries and the acid was bubbling and everything, I actually thought that was going to turn into an accident that made him into his snaker version of himself. I looked, And I was like, oh, he's about to get his skin burned or scaled or something. No, it was just a smoke screen. I was like, oh, all right, whatever. So guessed
Yeah,
wrong.
but I thought that was an awesome scene. And then that's when they go and Sam and Torres go off, and this is where they find out about Camp Echo 1. This is where they find out where Stearns was being held or where he was operating out of. And they infiltrate that whole thing, that whole base, and they find out Stearns has been manipulating a bunch of soldiers, Bradley included, and they find some files, that part. And then they find some files related to Ross and like his health. And we didn't know what that was about. We saw Ross taking some pills earlier, remember? And we didn't know what that was about. Okay, so I'm still trying to, and this is when we finally see the leader, Stearns, because he was kind of in the shadows, and we knew some sinister. When we finally see what he looks like, I kind of laughed when we saw Sam's initial reaction, and Sam's initial reaction was what everybody's reaction was like, oh. like
coin jar. No, they both said, "Oh, damn." There you go.
So, one, since this is our first time mentioning his name, I think we did pass up a part in the very beginning of the movie when it started. The callback to the Incredible Hulk. They did show us a flash of the scene of how Stern ended up being who he is.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't talk about that in the beginning. I'm like, all right, we'll save it till later. But now that we have mentioned his name, I did enjoy that callback for everyone who, the kids that exist nowadays who don't know that happened, the adults who may have forgotten that happened.
I didn't.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, I ain't gonna front. I did. Before the
Hulk is one of my favorite. Outside of Venom, Hulk is one of my favorite characters. My second favorite. So I
remember following the events, like the development of this movie, and I knew Tim Blake Nelson, the guy who plays Stearns, was coming back, and I remember him from Incredible Hulk and what happened. So it wasn't like this total shock to me or nothing. So they fight off his minions, and this is where they catch up with Gus again, and Gus lets them know what's going on.
Gus.
And do y'all want to talk about the scene when Sam was talking to Gus, Sidewinder, and he was detained, and Sam came to some revelations that Ross had Stearns detained because he was using them to help. We didn't hear this from Ross till later, but he had Stearns in prison and never let him go. Yeah. What else did he say though?
I remember.
He used him to win the presidency. He used him for just a lot of gain, And
yeah,
he's the leader. So I think the only thing, first off, hated the way the leader looked. Sorry.
Thank you.
All the Gamma people in the MCU look amazing, and we all know how the leader is supposed to look. Not saying he had to be identical, but as a friend of mine called him, Mr. And I don't know if this counts as a curse word or not, but Mr. Herpes Head didn't sit right with me because that's exactly, it just looked like he had an outbreak.
It's a sexual problem, but I buy it.
Yeah. And it's been 16 years. Even if it was a small outbreak at first, it's been 16 years. That should have developed into something better.
You know what, dude?
I'm getting that out the way. All right. The lime juice is hitting, so I'm getting that out the way. With that being said, obviously, if you know who the leader is, you know that if you didn't, the preview showed that General Ross was going to turn into the Red Hulk. Just going into him again and just how he works. I like the fact that they brought up like, oh no, this has been going on for 16 years, I think they said. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's how he works. The leader has always been one to play the long game. He's never like really made a plan as like, we need to execute this today. No, there's been plenty of times where he sat in jail and just waited years, months, whatever, for something to kick off in the order that he predicted. So for them to say 16 years later, he sat in there, yeah, he knew what he was doing. He was okay with it, And
to prove it, he mastered scenarios. Just like, first of all, my favorite version of him was an Iron Man TAS back in the 90s. Eyes were not weird. The head wasn't oversized, but I'm like him. He looked like he had a bad. In fact, there's a line that Sam missed in there. Ooh, is that contagious? I would have said that in the film personally. Mm-hmm. But yes, he said, well, Mr. Wilson, I love his voice because it reminds me of one of my favorite voice actors, Stephen Bell. He was like from G.I. Joe, by the way, but whatever. He's like, Mr. Wilson, there was an 86. I predicted that you would be here. There was an 86% chance that you tried to talk down Who did you guys call him before? From I'm sorry, guys. From Breaking Bad. What was his name?
Oh, Gus.
Yes.
What? Yeah,
Gus.
it was 86% chance he would try to talk Gus down, but I knew the odds were in my favor. I calculated this. I predicted that. He said, "Why did you do it? Why are you doing this to these people, especially Bradley?" Well, your friend just happened to be calculated collateral for the long-term goal, as Mr. Venom said. Briefly, he was like, dude, there was promises that were not kept. I was okay with the deal. He's presidency. And I should have known because he kept mentioning, we're talking about Ross. Oh, it's my first 100 days, my first 100 days. Bro, it's 100 days. Keep your end of the bargain. It's not like you're waiting for the public to make your move to keep your end to this madman. Because you don't want somebody that's bright doing stuff to the government, but whatever. I digress. So the rest of you guys.
Oh, no, you're 100% right. Should have put a bullet in his head as soon as he got elected. You know, he should have done the right. He should have done the right thing or the wrong thing. And as soon as he became president, put a bullet in his head. Then you eliminate that problem and call it a day. You know, but couldn't have a comic book movie.
And this is when we find out Ross is trying to something happened with Japan, and Ross is trying to smooth over it because he still wants the treaty to go. And then that's when the Japanese prime minister or whoever, I can't remember his title, said, no, we're done. We're done.
Well, what's the name? Snitch. That's what happened. He snitched.
It was a political move. Yeah.
Yeah. But so the leader snitched on Ross. That's what happened. I know they were trying to wrap it up like, oh, we got some intel about, but what happened? The leader snitched. He didn't get he didn't get his pardon like he said he was going to get. So the leader snitched on him.
Remember, he's a master of information manipulation, and I'm glad he put detail on this. As strong as the original Hulk was, I'm equally as intelligent. People have to remember that. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna send an email, ruin your day. I'm gonna tell your ex-girlfriend you got herpes, whatever you can do, just to be petty sauce, just for the hell of it. He's like, come on, you're being manipulated, obviously, to the prime minister. And he's like, I don't care. Japan is out. And without Japan, there was no deal.
Yeah. And then you got to remember in that interaction when we to the point where he flew over to Japan to talk to him. That's where we're at right now, right? In that moment, the Japanese president said we received this information and we verified it. So it wasn't just that somebody told on you and everything. It was that somebody told on you and then we seen the video.
We got receipts.
Somebody told on you and we seen your sex tape. You know, it was like that. Oh, you're completely exposed at this point.
And I like the scene with Harrison Ford. This is why I thought Harrison Ford was great in this role, because in the next scene, like he's trying to figure out what to do, and they find out Japan is just gunning for it, and they're going to go get the adamantium for themselves. They're headed straight over to Celestial Island, and his advisors are talking to Harrison Ford, and you can see Harrison Ford look like he's low-key crashing out.
And Thunderbolt's coming back.
Yeah, and I was wondering if he was going to Red Hulk right then and there. I'm like, that was not the time.
Not in the water. I think for me, that was a good callback to the original Avengers movie when Bruce Banner first got on the helicarrier. And he said, man, I'm out here in the middle of water. This can't be good. And then the propellers started coming out and they was like, oh, is this a submarine? This is a terrible idea. And then come to find out, no, it can fly. He's like, this is even a worse idea. Now they have Thunderbolt, General Ross, President Ross, sitting on a ship in the middle of the ocean. It's like you see the skin start to flare up, and it's like, oh, we're about to see the bad idea again. Like you should never.
The bad idea. It was.
Yeah. So I think.
I'm talking about the time when he's deciding to go into wartime mode. And he's telling his advisor, let's get ready. Because first, he was sitting down, and he looked like we didn't see the red eyes or nothing like that, but he looked like he was just super worried.
All right.
That's emotionally where Archer was coming up from. He's coming out of retirement. He's like, you know what? I can't have my ball. I'm going to take my ball and go home. He's in defensive mode, even though as much as he wants to change, and that's a realism in this film, even though he genuinely, in my heart, he wants to change, he still has his mannerisms. Archer's correct. I'm gonna do it my way, though.
When you're trying one thing and it's failing you miserably, you got to go back to what you know. And I know how to be General Thunderbolt Ross. You know what I'm saying? So it was that, but you can see he kept biting his tongue. For metaphorically, you can see the moment he would be right there. He's like, let me chill out. Deep
That
breaths,
impresses me
woosahs, whatever.
because he
It
could have
was
held that at any time. I count 3 times. He could have.
yeah, it was at least 3 times where he wanted to lose it, and it every time it happened after the first time, it progressively got worse. It was like, oh, this is it, and then it just never happened. It was like, come on, give it to me,
But
and
go
it
ahead,
just
Mark.
wasn't happening.
Yeah. And then we cut over to the scene where he's on the submarine and they're trying to hurry up and raise and beat Japan over to Celestial Island. And I'm glad to see, it was interesting to see Taimon like hanging out. I just think if that happened in real life, it would be so jarring to see a Celestial like that. Just the sight of it. I just always thought that was bugged out. Just going out there and y'all just want to dig into it. Like, I feel like how much, like, not to get too off topic, but how does that work? How do you dig metal out of a celestial? You know what I'm saying? Are you just going up to the upper party part where it just raises out of the water? Or are y'all planning on going deep in the ocean, to the core earth to dig more when that runs out? How does that work?
So in this movie, that has been there for what, 6 years at this point or something that they said? I can't remember. So my thing is in however long it's been there, I believe it's been 6 years. They have that one little piece that Japan somehow broke off. So they haven't even discovered it. They haven't even figured it out. I think I hate the fact that I like the fact that adamantium has been introduced. I hate the fact that it's so much of it because as we know, adamantium doesn't exist in such a massive quantity, So for the celestial to be there, it's like, okay, cool. Everybody gets their share of adamantium, and it's like, where do we go from here with this?
Didn't they say it's supposed to be stronger than vibranium?
It's true.
Adamantium was always.
Oh yeah. There's been cases where sidebar again. There've been cases they said if Wolverine was actually his skeleton was made out of vibranium versus adamantium, he'd be way more physical versatile. The adamantium is actually heavier and more dense and slowing him down, but vibranium is just as dense, but it's more agile. It makes up for the lightness, where adamantium makes up for is in the strength of the material. If that makes sense.
Got it. Yeah, but I like that whole fight scene. This is where Sam Wilson confronts Ross, and this is where we found out why Ross broke his promise and kept Stearns detained because he was using him to help prolong his life because he was dying of heart failure. I thought that was a very powerful scene. So Ross had his reasons because, like, if he broke out, because if he would have let Stearns go, what reason does Stearns have to keep helping them stay alive? You know what I'm saying?
True.
So Ross, it was a desperate move on Ross.
Beautiful callback to the late William Hurt there, because remember in Civil War, he was having heart problems in there.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah. So
that's
remember,
right.
He had just had a massive stroke before he had became Senator Ross. So he had, what do you say? I cut down on the red meat or whatever. Yeah.
Good point.
So
Good point.
So I think a lot of people, it's terrible writing. And all of a sudden, General Ross had bad heart, and that's why, like, no. This was a callback to Will.
No, y'all forgot.
You're right.
Y'all forgot.
I totally forgot about that.
He had these heart problems. They've been brought it up before. My man's passed away and everything. He had a stroke. He became a senator. He got out of being a general. He became a senator and everything, and worked on the Sokovia Accord. So that was good how
Brilliant,
they implemented that part where it was like, why did you start getting into the gamma? How did you end up messing with somebody who was gamma radiated and letting them treat you? Well, because I was dying. And I don't care what anybody says. If I'm dying, all of that other BS goes out the way. I could be a diehard racist right now. And if y'all tell me the white guy over here probably has a cure to fix me, guess what? I ain't racist no more. And that's all it was. He was completely against gamma people. And all of a sudden, the gamma person said, I can help you. And he was like, no.
Talk about irony.
Yeah, like that's not how the world works, So
in exchange,
just all of the call outs to, and I don't want to say racism, but just separatism. Was that the right word? Oh,
it's a word.
Whatever the word is that I'm trying to use. But there were a lot of call outs to things like this where it's like, hey, I wouldn't normally F with you people, or I don't really like you, or when he called him boy, you're not Steve Rogers, or we all know Thunderbolt does not like gamma people at all, but now all of a sudden the leader is his bestie, hey, can you give me presidency and fix my heart? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll pardon you. Obviously, his real character showed, like, but at the end of the day, he was willing to work with him when his life was on the line. So,
But yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, did you know like the whole action sequence when they're trying to squash the beef between the Japanese pilots and the airline pilots because the two airline American pilots were being manipulated by Stearns.
Yep.
And Will, Sam, and Torres were trying to defuse the whole situation because it could have been potentially World War III.
Mm-hmm.
It was needed because there was not enough dogfight because there was enough cloak. First of all, I love the cloak and dagger. A lot of the cloak and dagger action of this movie reminds me of another series that didn't get slack. I'm sorry, guys. Samuel L. Jackson, The Scrolls,
Secret Wars.
No, not Secret Wars. It was it's Secret Invasion.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it. Well, it's more cloak and dagger than action. Then you're asking for the wrong stuff from Marvel.
Yeah.
And remember, Samuel L. Jackson is a spy first, so this is a proper setting for him. This is a government issue. This is the proper setting for this movie. That's the problem with these people. But I'm gonna get on that high horse in a minute. But to answer your immediate question, when they mesmerized, I forgot the two pilots. I'm gonna say Buffalo and Ranch. Two American pilots, right? I mean, some of them slipped through the cracks from the signal because the new Falcon discovered that there was a frequency being used, and a lot of people got manipulated. So there need to be an aerial dogfight to display their new abilities. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. It was a good. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then Torres ends up getting hurt. He almost gets killed. Thankfully, he doesn't die. He gets rescued. They take him to the hospital. Ross almost hulks out on the ship because he's getting manipulated by Stearns. And he tries to keep it together. I was like, oh, snap. Is this today the day?
But Arch, remember this scene? He's like, can't you feel it? You feel it slipping away, don't you? Go ahead. Hold out. You know you want to.
Let it happen, bro. Let go.
He was talking so much mess, bro. And I would have lost this. I would have lost it.
He was in his ear like when you go out and you've had one too many and a woman's somebody you don't even know is sitting in your ear like, hey, we should get out of here. You like, maybe? Like, it was like that. Like, he was in his ear on the opposite end of that spectrum. Like, just do it. Just go ahead, man. We're here.
But fast forward to the next part where Torres is in the hospital. Sam's looking over, and this is where we get the cameo surprise from Bucky himself.
Yeah, that was definitely a surprise.
Did y'all think it was going to be Bucky, or were y'all thinking of somebody else? I didn't know.
Anybody but Bucky, believe it or not.
I didn't think it was going to be Bucky. And just to see him clean shaven and running for senator, right? I mean,
still had a little
I know what you mean. The suit was nice. Yeah. Going for politics? Did I miss something?
Right. They
kind of hinted at it in the Thunderbolts. In the Thunderbolts trailers, they show him in suits and if you
pay attention, a bodyguard role or something. But okay, I'll bite.
No. There was a couple of shots where they showed Bucky in a suit in the Thunderbolts trailer, so it makes sense.
Okay. No. I'm thinking like you. Come on, most hitmen or bodyguards wear suits, but I'll bite nonetheless.
Literally, if you go to Hitman, that's his main thing, black suit.
So Bucky's basically giving Sam a pep talk, like, "Hey, it'll work out in the end. There's a reason why." And Sam's kind of like low key regretting not taking the serum, and Bucky's telling him like it wouldn't have made no difference if you had the serum or not. Steve gave you the title because you're who you are, not because how strong you are. They had a heartfelt. Yeah, they had a heartfelt, tender moment, and they part ways. So it was cool to see Bucky fry.
I think he needed that too because that's the second time that's happened to Sam now.
Yeah, one time definitely in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I remember.
No, Civil War, aerial battle, and one of the homies got hurt.
Okay, then three. Then yeah,
Don Cheadle.
Yeah, but those two are like roommates though. Those two get each other, and he was like, "Dude, it's not about the costume or the shield, man. It's about the heart." Because he said, what did he say? He said Steve had his own way of doing things with the shield. Stop trying to follow. In a nutshell, he said, stop trying to follow Steve. This is who you are. Use your gift. Steve saw that in you. Why don't you see it in yourself? And then Sam was like this. He was like, damn, you practiced that, didn't you? I might have. You know what I'm saying? You remember that? He's like,
I remember that. Speech writers do that? He said, yeah, I did. That was cool.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, your script writers do that? Okay, kind of, sort of. Okay, I had a little practice. But yeah, he was funny.
And to wrap this up, because I know CJ got to go in a little bit. Fast forward to the next day, and the president's going to give his debriefing to the media. And then this is when the leader, Stearns, decides to turn himself in. And his whole motivation is to expose Ross as the monster he is. And this is where we get to see the Ross Hulk out. And I thought that was a good sequence too. I mean, I knew we weren't going to get the Red Hulk the whole movie. Obviously, I knew it was going to come towards the tail end. So I thought that was good the way that played out. There was a moment there where I had a brief jump scare when Sam is like flying away from him, and then when he opens his wings, the Hulk's right there in his face. I was like, oh,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
The guy sitting next to me is jump scared too. Like, oh, I wasn't ready for that.
So as good as Sam played, as Anthony Mackie played Sam, and as Harrison Ford played Thaddeus and everything, as good as everybody played their positions, the movie was good. And then when the Hulk finally appeared, I felt like it brought back I don't want to say a childhood thing because we've existed in the MCU as adults this whole time, but it just brought back the love that we had of the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes who the Hulk is now. I don't care who you are. And if you're that person who's like, I love the Hulk now, cool. Please block me. Don't talk.
Modern Banner you're talking about? Modern Banner.
Yeah, it was about Banner right now. Nobody likes
post Endgame Hulk.
Yeah,
thank you.
Nobody likes Infinity War Hulk. Nobody likes that Hulk going forward. This weakling.
Modern Banner. That's what everybody's calling. Yeah,
we've missed out on that rage aspect for the longest now, and so to see Thunderbolt bring that back, that was just, and that whole sequence was just beautiful. It obviously graphics and everything have advanced, and it showed. It was like
the heat coming off him.
He was right there. They accented again back into the original Hulk movie with Eric Bana, like his speed and everything. So he's chasing.
Oh yeah, he was doing them leaps. He was catching up. Sam
right,
was trying
that
to get
was
away.
that was more accented in the original Hulk movie with Eric Bana. Like he's as fast as a plane if he gets mad enough. So I'm not saying that they was calling that back, but in the Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton, we didn't see that type of speed. I don't remember us seeing that type of speed of him chasing down helicopters and planes and everything.
That was competitive, but not like that. Yeah.
Right. And so to see that happening where he's chasing Sam, who can go supersonic and everything, and he's jumping, 10, 11, 12 city blocks, and he's keeping up with him, and he's completely pissed the entire time. I loved seeing Thunderbolt. Man, I wanted him to wipe out all of DC. I would have enjoyed it if he blew up the world. I don't care. And I was like, thank you.
He tore up the White House.
Yeah, he did. If he had destroyed the entire East Coast, I wouldn't have felt bad for nobody who lived there. I'd have been like, whatever. We needed this. I needed to see him destroy something. It was just good to see.
And then, long story short, yeah, but I'd like to see Sam what he could do just to hold him off. I like the whole wings. You know what I'm saying?
Mathematically makes sense.
He eventually talked him down and he chilled out. He made him remind him of Betty and the cherry blossoms. All right, that was okay, And then towards the end, ironically, Ross finds himself in the very place where he was putting other people in. Now Sam and Ross are on opposite sides of the raft. So Ross took accountability and he went to jail. He's in the raft. But I thought that was a very good scene between him and Sam. And this is where we get to see Liv Tyler from The Incredible Hulk come back as Betty Ross, even if it was for like a brief moment. It was good to see her again. And then Sam goes about. He gets my man Isaiah Bradley exonerated. He's back. He's happy now.
Again.
Yeah, he's talking to Torres in the hospital. And I thought it was a tender moment. Torres is telling him, like, I didn't look up to these other guys. I looked up to you. I wanted to be like you. And I think Sam is talking. Didn't Sam say something about he's trying to do he is going to still continue the Avengers Initiative and all that stuff?
Yeah. He sees now that it's backwards to forwards. He sees now it's necessary. This is basically a pitch for New Avengers, in my humble opinion. You didn't see it, you're blind. And yes, I also have a question for you, Arch. Did you think that my security advisor had something to do with any of this plot? I was very surprised that she didn't.
No, I didn't think nothing like that. I think she was
okay.
Yes. Right. So initially, when she was first introduced, and she was at the summit, whatever, CE1 or whatever, initially, before she started discovering stuff and helping, initially I thought
That's
she was
true.
back. I thought she might have been the villain or part or with working with the villain.
I'm thinking she was going to roadblock evidence. You know how this works, Mr. Venom. Try to sabotage Sam's investigation until she came across the same camera flashing. She's like,
right. And when she caught on to it, she was like, wait, what's that? I'm like, oh, so because initially when she was talking trash to him when they were in the bunker, I thought like, oh, she's working. She's like the leader's number 2.
I'm thinking that too. I was.
Right. So I did think she was a bad guy.
I thought she was just playing this. Yeah, because remember, I just had no reason to think that because she seemed like she was like figuring this out along with us, like everybody else.
She's just really die hard tough. Like most of the not ballerinas, but the widows. Most of the widows are really aggressive, even down to Black Widow herself. But go ahead, Venom.
Yeah, it was new character introduction. All right, anytime somebody new and is that close to the main story comes out, you got to think something about them. They're either good or bad, you know. And so this is somebody after the president told everybody to get out of the room except for Sam. Oh, that little person over there can stay. Now it's like, well, who the F is that then? You know, who is that?
I hear what y'all saying. I get it.
Yeah, and so like just going through us watching movies in general, this wasn't a random. This was a new character. And why is she so against Sam and Sam being able to do this investigation? She's obviously low-key a bad guy. I was wrong. I was wrong.
And wrapping up for Arch, the fight sequence was realistic. Like it's vibranium. Before those naysayers, the shield is still doing most of the work. The wings from Wakanda did its job to stand up to a Hulk, gentlemen. I think he gets recognition, regular body parts or not. That's all I got.
Yeah. What did y'all I liked how it wrapped up, but what did y'all think about the post-credit scene?
Waste of time. Don't get me wrong. The post-credit scenes always give you something. This post-credit scene was really, I'm Sam. I already got you locked up, and now I'm just going downstairs to talk to you to gloat. You know, it was just.
I read more than that.
You know what he was saying though? Did you know what Stearns was saying though?
Oh yeah, I know what Stearns was saying. As far as he was speaking into more of the multiversal war type of ordeal coming up. I got
or the Secret War thing, whatever. But
I feel like
that's what he's talking about. Stearns was talking about incursions. He didn't say it like that, but that's what he was essentially saying. He's saying, I did the calculations. We got incursions. We got incursions coming. You need to get your people together. That's what he essentially was saying in a nutshell.
Yeah, it was needed, but it was like Mr. Venom said, and not to just keep piggybacking with him. Every post-credit scene has to be ominous, but that was way over the top ominous.
Yeah.
That was it.
Like, hey, let me go down here and talk shit. Guy that I already beat got locked up. Dang, another $1. Let me go in here and talk trash to this guy. For what? You're saying you're Captain America. Humble yourself. You went and talked to Ross. That scene, him talking to Ross, I enjoyed more than him talking to Stern. You know, just to see that.
Oh
Ross
yeah,
really
I agree.
Because now it explained like why is Ross locked up? Because technically, could nobody stop him if they wanted to? And to hear him say, "I turned myself in,"
I think it was Ross's own volition. I think Ross.
Yeah, that's what they said. He turned himself in. He gave up his presidency. He's chilling now. He's going to serve his time. That's why Betty was there, is because it wasn't in his good that he was trying to show his change. It was when he fell from grace. And he said, hey, do the right thing. That's what brought Betty along, you know. So, or at least to my belief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that being said, what was your overall? How would you rank this movie on a grading scale? I would give it like about a B-. You know, I don't think it was nowhere as near as terrible as the critics were saying. However, at the same time, I don't know if I compared it the same as Winter Soldier status, but it was me. It was serviceable. It wasn't perfect, but it was serviceable. I didn't walk away from this pissed.
No, very satisfied. I will say this. Because there's a comic book person who I follow online who has a million followers. Like the name escapes me. I should know the name, but I've been following him for a hot minute. My apologies in advance. But he brought up a good point. I can't even take this quote. The first Captain America movie, a lot of people weren't ready for it. They were like, MCU was in, it's dawning. So, okay, you get a handicap of that. Right, I agree with you. Winter Soldier, there was a lot more people in play. So it helped bumped it up a bit. Black Widow, Winter Soldier himself, most of the Avengers were mentioned, but no play. Samuel Jackson went there. Come on now. Whenever he hits the screen, it commands audience respect. Civil War. People still confuse that. And every once in a while, I slip and say that was a definitely Avengers movie when it wasn't, because everybody and their daddy was involved. Of course it gets an A+. So for it to be, to me, to answer your question, to be a solid 7, that's my rating. There's bits and pieces, and I'll defend that in a minute. You're raising the bar way too high to compete with that and Endgame, what we just come through. And you got to remember, this is a standalone film. It's definitely better than Thor Ragnarok, not Ragnarok. Whoa,
Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder. Oh my God!
See how mad you got? See how mad you got? That's what I'm going for. And that was a standalone, and he had powers. So why can't you give this a handicap, Mr. Venom Drop? That's all I got.
All right, so I gave it about an 8.2, 8.3 out of 10.
Okay.
Because let me be honest with you, as far as let's go post Endgame, everything that's happened post Endgame, we can't really count on one hand out of all of the series and everything that have been better than this movie. All right, you got Loki, season 2 was great.
By the way, taking this out the equation, you have a good point there.
Yeah, and then you had like I said. As far as the critics was concerned, that was that reason. But for as far as my rating, post Endgame, and I have to put that caveat in there because no matter what, everything will be compared to that. Where that was a movie that took 13 years to build up to. You know what I'm saying? Or was it 12? Whatever it was. It took X amount of years to build up to. This was one of the side movies in comparison that and people keep trying to compare it to that. No, if you want to compare it to something, you compare it to, because this is a new start, a new chapter. You compare it to the original Captain America.
Sorry, is this beginning of phase 6 or end of phase 5? That's a brought up a good point.
I want to say 6.
Is this phase 6? It's one of them. It's like the end of phase 5 or beginning of phase 6. I'll look it up and find out. But
agreed.
At the end of the day, we gotta stop comparing this movie to the greats that we've known. Thor Ragnarok. That's the 3rd movie into the Thor series. You know. We got to compare this to Iron Man 1, Captain America 1, Thor 1.
Thank you.
You know, if you compare it to those movies, it's better than all of those. It's better than the original Captain America. I'm sorry, it is. All right? It's definitely better than the original Thor. I hated the most. I hated both. I hated Thor 2. Didn't care for Thor 1. Thor Ragnarok was good. Yeah, Thor Ragnarok was the best one to me. You know, Love and Thunder, I want to hurt people because I know what that movie was supposed to be. Only because I know what people. Because I know what that sword meant and everything, and I want to hurt people for how they did that movie.
Watch this, Mr. Venom. Sorry about this, Arch. Watch this, Mr. Venom. But it's supposed to be meant as a comedy. We got that in Ragnarok.
Yeah, we got that in Ragnarok. Kill that off, man. You know this. Let's give a call on that real quick. The fact that this movie did have its comical moments, but it was only like 3 or 4 one-liners. Boom, that was it. And it wasn't like this carried on over the top joke. It was like somebody made a smart comment. Or when the new Falcon, when he took out the bad guys at the beginning of the movie and he did his little dance. As a soldier,
my favorite. Wait, I'm sorry. My favorite. Sorry, Arch. My favorite was when he said, "How do we know we haven't been compromised?" When he went to section, what was that section area they went to?
The CE1 or EDC1?
CE1, whatever. Right. He's like, how do you know we haven't been compromised?
And he started playing the music.
Yeah,
that's like, legit something I would have done as a soldier.
That was funny. He was like,
that was funny, but
well, nobody's killing us.
And people who have ever been in the military can tell you we're all idiots that they gave guns and stuff to. You know what I'm saying? They gave a lot of responsibility and guns to it. It was like, go be a soldier. So like when he first fought off the bad guys, he landed, he was like, woo! And then he looked around and was like, nobody saw that. Like that's a legit reaction. If you clear the room, it was like, yeah. It's just me. Who am I talking to, right? Like that comeback would happen in your head. You know, so for them to minimize the comedy and put the seriousness back into this, you know, and again, Mr. Esposito, I wish I seen more screen time of him, honestly. You know,
I wanted to see more.
Yeah, I wanted to see more. I hope he comes back, you know, but yeah, 8.2 at least for me. You know, the more I analyze it, I find little pieces that I don't like, but I don't drop the rating for it because it was a well acted movie. It was it was more towards the spy thriller side, where it wasn't just all this over the top action. I think we had 3 action sequences through the entire movie, or maybe it was 4, but the rest of it was like storytelling, and the people telling the stories were doing a really good job about it. So I give
Back
that
to
A
the
plus too.
roots. Back to the roots.
Yeah. And again, I need people to stop looking at this movie post Endgame, because we're comparing it to something that took forever to set up. We're not going to compete with Civil War. I mean, Civil War,
Yeah.
Endgame, Winter Soldier. This is an original. Technically, this is an original. This is Captain America 1 again. You got to put that asterisk in there.
I think it's a reset.
You say what?
I think it's a reset.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not a reset because it's continuing on with the story, but we got to keep this brand new character as such. At the most, you could call it Captain America Sam Wilson 2, because he had the series, But past that, no, man, it was good.
While you were talking, for once I was investigating, Phase 6 starts with the Fantastic Four, which that's another sidebar.
That's a whole other universe.
I think we're still in Phase 5. I think this is still Phase 5. Okay. But yeah, man, I look forward to. I thought this was okay. I mean, it wasn't the best movie. The only MCU movie I walked out of pissed was Thor: Love and Thunder.
You were a great man for that. You're better than me. I actually sat through it and watched it, and bit my tongue.
No, I saw the end credits and everything too. Like they never did nothing with Hercules. I saw all that. And I just remember walking out like.
Yeah. Look, Arch, like he said, like Mr. Venom says, I want to punch a small infant. I got shit. Anyway,
but it was super whack. I didn't get that from this. I was like, okay, this was better than what they're saying it was. Mm-hmm. I can't help but low key think that people are like, some of these critics are low key salty at Anthony Mackie for what he said about America, and I think this is a version of retaliation. That's stupid. Not to paint them all with the same brush. I think some of them may have generally thought this was a terrible movie. That may be the case. But some instances, I low-key think this is like a form of retaliation.
You're saying more diverse individual reasons why they don't like it, outside the obvious. I see what you're saying, Arch.
When you look at this movie, when you finally see it, and you look at the rating that it got, but then you look at movies like Captain Marvel, or Thor: Love and Thunder, or Thor 2, or Guardians, the last one, or when you look at this movie and you see the rating and it's so low, you have to know that there is some type of retaliation in this. There's no way that this movie, what did they get? What they gave it, a 52? For this movie to be
pretty low, like a 47 in some places.
So Thor: Love and Thunder.
The crazy part is, look up the ratings around the world from
he's doing it right now.
The world's critics, huh?
Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor: Love and Thunder had a critic rating of 63% and an audience rating of 76%.
And it was still higher than this movie. Not the customer rating, the critic rating. That's what this was saying. And Thor: Love and Thunder it's upsetting even thinking about that movie right now, right?
Well, but check this out. Now Brave New Worlds is down to 51% critic rating, but now it has an 80% audience rating.
Let's go.
At least it wasn't the 70s, Mr. Venom. It wasn't the 70s, correct? Now it's 79.
It was at 82, then it dropped down to like 78, 79, and now it's back up. But that's just 80. America. That's just America. If you look at the rest of the world actually has it rated in the 90s. I have the clips and everything from it. I'll show that. I'll show you guys off.
Korea gave it a 90.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. You look at Japan, Korea, they actually rated it really, really high. So anyway, I'm just saying,
makes you wonder.
Especially since Captain Marvel and Thor: Love and Thunder got a higher rating.
Confession. I'm about to go see it again with some more friends in a couple hours. I'm supporting it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go see it. I'm probably gonna go see it on Tuesday.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't. I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. I looked online. I checked Deadline right now. It's gearing towards $100 million domestic box office.
I'm about to say domestic. They already get 190
right now. Globally, it's at 190 right now.
Yep.
Global.
I looked at that right before we jumped on. Yeah, and Sunday's not over. Right? Man, Sunday isn't over with yet. So today's numbers haven't been counted. It's already hit its budget today. I looked at it 5 minutes before we started this call.
I
It
think
got
it
That was
actually.
smart.
I think they already exceeded their box office.
Yeah, it was.
expectations.
It was supposed to be. I'm sorry, Arch. It was supposed to be predicted 211, and I think they're going to exceed that. Like Venom said, the day hasn't ended yet.
Yeah,
Today, Vegas time,
today hasn't ended.
3 o'clock.
Exactly. That was 190 million at like when I looked at when it was posted. I want to say that was posted about 2 hours before we started this. So another movie has happened in the 2 hour time frame. So add in that money, damn it. He's doing great. Congratulations to you, Anthony Mackie. Great stuff. You're representing Captain America. Great. I don't care what anybody has to say about you.
Good producing, by the way. Co-producing.
Great producing.
Yeah.
Mr. Esposito, I need you back. I want a standalone villain movie of you, how you
That part.
became this super secret.
Well, they're not done with the
Dude.
Serpent Society. They'll be back.
Oh, no, they'll be back
I
as
wanna see
villains,
more
though.
Red Hulk.
I need a Serpent Society movie. Like,
Oh, that's
how-
a good question. Wait,
what's up?
a standalone movie. First of all, Venom, a standalone movie. And you heard what Arch said?
What?
Do you think Red Hulk will make an appearance again in Thunderbolts?
Well, I'm about to say the next. So I thought you were going to end that question on, do you think he's going to make another appearance? And I was going to say the next movie is called Thunderbolts. I don't know if y'all know that.
Oh,
But there's an asterisk next to it, so we'll see.
With Bucky appearing in this movie, I at least expect to see Red Hulk in an end credit scene for the Thunderbolts. Because technically, if I'm remembering correctly, it's his team. He's the one who becomes the leader of the Thunderbolts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're called the Thunderbolts because of him. He's the leader of it, So
And
if I'm
final
right,
thing,
big
and
years.
final thing, and I gotta go. The raft, the big house. They're introducing these new prisons. We researched this. Who am I missing? The Cube.
The Cube. That's my favorite one. The Cube. It was great to see the raft again. I'm glad it wasn't just a one-off. And I enjoy seeing the fact that Red Hulk was in there. That's a great place for him to be, or any Hulk for that matter. I mean, obviously they should go to the Cube and such, but the raft is for the worst of the worst. And obviously, General Thunderbolt has proven that he can be a world-ending type of ordeal because he just wiped out the White House, his own house, in a matter of seconds, and then destroyed a cherry garden and tried to kill Sam, and Sam didn't even do anything to him. Sam was just there. Like that's the crazy part. He was mad at the leader and tried to kill Sam. Sam just showed up like, hey, chill, homie. That was it.
That is a terror tantrum, but
right.
Okay.
And he had a whole temper tantrum and destroyed his own house, the White House. So, it's crazy.
Sorry,
It's like, I wish my 4-year-old would. I'd swing on him so fast. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
So that's all I got right now. We got to wrap this up. Let us know what y'all thought about the movie. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just mid? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm signing out. C-Jack, you got to go. Don't forget to follow him on C-Jack Productions. Like, comment, follow, and subscribe to me at the Arch Assessment. Mr. Venom, I do look forward to talking with you in future podcasts, future reviews.
I'm back, baby.
And we will keep in touch.